Hey, what's going on guys? How all you are doing? Welcome to the third tutorial in the tutorial series of making a Laravel control management system. So we are on the third episode. If you are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe, push a like button, just support us a bit for continuing doing pretty much something like this, taking too long to record, to montage, to do a lot of stuff. So be helpful and support us, subscribe or something. So if you're new, make sure you watch the two last episodes before coming up and watching the third one. So the third one, what we're going actually to talk about is pretty much just the Sass. What is the Sass? The Sass is kind of a CSS precompiler and why we need it. So why we need to use precompiler rather than just not using CSS. So this is kind of a complicated thing, but once you understand the use of it, you're gonna love this very much because Sass is really that nice thing. I'm pretty sure that you can do it. Sass, as I said, is very nice. So as well as we're gonna talk about the layouts. So how we can do the layouts of the page rather than just reusing the same code over and over and over. We can create an application or a single blade.php app layout. Then we can inherit from every single other file that we're gonna use on the website. So they all gonna have the same kind of a header. They have the same JavaScript files they're gonna be included in, as well as the CSS files. So we just don't include them every single time we want to create a new file, and this is very useful as well. So as we have said, we have Laravel-CMS.dev. I have just styled this a bit, have dashboard and a new post categories admins. For the time being, it does nothing, just the styling. Go ahead and style yours however you want. If you really like the style, you can go ahead and GitHub. You're gonna find the full source code on GitHub. Your link will be description below. You can visit us on the website iPuzzle.com. You're gonna find every single tutorial we record, we upload in there. So it's kind of a platform for us to do this as long as the YouTube channel. So we have the dashboard, as I've said. This is the site area we were working on. Now let's go ahead and show you the size pretty quick. So when you go to the resources, assets, you're gonna find the JavaScript in the Sass folder. However, you can use Sass or LSS however you want, but I prefer using Sass because it comes pre-installed with Laravel. You can use however you want. Sass or any other pre-compiled CSS. So just go to the website of Laravel and you're just gonna get how you can use any other precompiler of the CSS. Now for the Sass, you're gonna find the app.css and a variable.css. This variable.scss actually are gonna hold all variables. And what's really cool about Sass or the precompiled CSS is that you can assign variables. Let's say my var, as pretty much as doing in languages like PHP or JavaScript, assign a variable to however you want. You can assign variables to colors that you frequently use on your website. Let's say your website uses pretty much a lot of green, so you kind of assign variables for a different range of green colors, so you can use them later on your website application or something like this. This is very helpful. You can also store kind of properties, transactions, animations. It's very nice. You can search the web, and there's a specific video tutorials for showing how to use Sass in a professional way. So it's gonna be very nice to use it, as well as we're gonna just not use it that much, but it's gonna be very helpful for us to develop the way or manage the CSS or the style of our CMS as well. We're not gonna work on the CSS too much because it's gonna be very simple. We're gonna use Bootstrap, a pre-made CSS. Now enough talking, let's go and jumping in. So the app.css hold every single CSS file is being added into your project. So if you add a new file into the Sass, make sure you add it in here by importing it. So let's say you added another file, you see it imports and my file.css. So let me do that pretty quick. Let's create a new file in here and do the Sass. As I've said, we are using Visual Studio Code. Feel free to use any code editor you really like, but I really like Visual Studio Code. Now creating a new one, I'm gonna say new file and I'm gonna say main sty.scss. Make sure you name it scss, and for a naming convention for Laravel especially, and just for Laravel, you put an underscore or prefix an underscore at the beginning of your file name, and that for making Laravel knows like this file is need to compile using the set, so we're just gonna compile it right off the way. So we have to name it like underscore main style.scss, and make sure to go to the app.scss and as I've said, SCSS just called for Sass CSS, which going to be compiled and converted into a normal or plain CSS. So this is what's pretty much compiling is gonna be doing. So we have here, let's say, our websites for regular comment websites, styles SCSS. So let me import this very quick. We're gonna say import, and we're gonna say make sure you do not include the underscore at the beginning. So we're gonna just say min style, and make sure to do not include the SCSS or .scss at the end. So we're not gonna include this. Laravel gonna do all the things for us, and a semicolon at the end will do the job perfectly. So now after doing that, you're probably gonna need to compile this. So after adding this, you can add a code, a CSS, normal CSS code into this, or you can use Sass. Pretty much we're not gonna use a lot of Sass in here, just some kind of an arrow inheritance where you're just gonna put the parent. Let's say you have a div, a container, and it has like a child on it. Let's say this is gonna be named the container with an ID of container, and you probably have a child of it. In a normal CSS is gonna be a bit harder to like include a child on it, but while on the Sass you can do it right under the hood. So right under the hood. I'm sorry for this, guys. Anyway, you can do it, and you can just put the child, and wherever this child is under the container, you're gonna be executing, or it's gonna like put the style of it on the child. But if the child is not under the container, let's say the child is alone, it has an ID but it's not under the container, or its parent, it's not a container, this one is not going to be applied for these specific elements. So this is really nice, I like about it. And like whether or not you don't really need to include every single element with an ID, or like assign it with an ID or a class. Let's say you have a container and it has an h4, like a text on it and contained it under h4. You don't want like this h4 to assign it into ID in order to give it a style. You're just gonna give it like an h4 in here, and you're good to go. Very simple. So as I've said, this is the main style, and we need to compile this in order to work. But compiling would do nothing, because this is an empty thing, so we won't see the results of any of these compiling things. So let me very quick close this, save it, do whatever he wants. Okay, now going into, we need to copy this style in here. So the custom style we have created under the header file, or under the dashboard file. This is a bad thing to do, and it's not really the modern thing to be done. So actually we're gonna copy this, not the style, elements. Okay, copy it, Control X. Then we're gonna go ahead and put it into our main style. As simple as that. And what we can do, since this is a parent of the side list, as you can see here, we have, this is the side area main, and this is a child of the side area main, and this is also a child of the side area container. So we can put it like under a parent child structure. So it can be very easy for us to read, like for the further looking at the website or further maintenance. That would be really easy to read. So we have this, and we should put it into the container, but the container for the time being, it's an empty, so it's not a good idea to put an empty rule sets on CSS. As well as we have the A thing, so the A is under the side list. We can put it in there, as I've said, and we have a.hover effects. Pretty much have created this by myself under the scenes, or under the back of the stage. So we have the A, we have a.hover, and this should work right under the hood. So now we just need to compile this, and to do that you need npm to be installed on your Laravel folder. If you don't know what is npm, it's a Node.js modular thing that allows you to do loads of stuff, and specifically use it for JavaScript. So you should just go ahead and search on the web for npm, install it. It should be installed on your computer, after that, or your system. After that, come over back into the video and continue watching. So as I've said, npm, make sure to cd or use the integrated terminal. If not, go ahead and use cmd, and this is the integrated terminal. To open it, just Control Shift P and type in terminal, focus up there, and it's gonna open up for you. Make sure in the right direction the exam htdocs tutorials Laravel.cms under the CMS directory, and obviously let me see, we're gonna use npm, put npm, and make sure npm is installed by that doing npm install. After this, like, make sure like everything is being installed and up to date. So now run npm run dev, and we're gonna need to wait for this like to run the development and compile all the css files. If there is like in here JavaScript, there's also a Vue.js. So if you don't know about Vue.js, it's kind of a template engine for JavaScript, which makes it really modern, like rendering from JavaScript to HTML and vice versa. So to make it very, very easy about Vue, I don't think I will just explain Vue in this tutorial series. Maybe in another one, that would be very nice. Make sure to put the comment below. I will be very happy to hear from you what you really want to do, if doing this series for Vue or not. But we're not gonna cover it in this series. Sorry for this, guys. So you're not under the coverage of this series. So it's gonna compile wherever it's gonna find a Vue in there, gonna compile it as well. And this app.js is gonna be copied into your public folder. So if you just open up public and go to the JS, and this is where your app.js is gonna be there. So it has the bootstrap, it has some kind of initialization for the Vue.js and for Laravel. So just leave it in there and don't do anything with it, and make sure you include it, as I've said, in the top of the header file. We're gonna talk about this a bit after this compile and finish. So we should see this under the hood, as I've said, and the compiling now is taking a bit too much. So let me skip the video for this, guys. Or it's done, so no problem using this. As I've said, when you see this like compiled successfully in a number of seconds, let me close Premiere Pro, sorry this, and going ahead and make sure refresh, and we should see no changes because we have just copied this through the main style and compiled it, and then included the app.css. So everything gonna be used in there and imported into the app.scss is gonna be compiled into the main file of app.css. So whatever you include in here imports another file, gonna be compiled, and all the code gonna be put into the app.css. It's gonna have a bit of other code, so don't worry about this pretty much. And it seems you have something missing in here, so let me see this, guys, in a second and check out what is really going on. We should see that's OpenJS. You can use this, as I've said, the Google DevTools to and here we are. Like, this is gonna be being cached. Make sure when you do a CSS thing and compile it, make sure that the DevTools is being opened, then refresh the page in order to make the page take effect of the new CSS. So this is kind of weird. I don't really like it, but it must be done on Chrome. I don't really know about the other browsers, so make sure you ask them or do a Google search. Yeah, that will be very helpful. Now, as I've said, nothing is being changed, and this is how you do compiling. If you really like you're working the style for the last of the day, or like for let's say Sunday, you have a style working, like you need to redo all the style of the website, and you don't really want to do every single time like npm and run dev every single time you want to compile the assets. There's another npm command. It's very simple, and or a package you can call it. I'm gonna do all of this, and this is being done by Webpack. Of course, you can search Google for Webpack for knowing more what is Webpack. It's really nice. So if you really intend to go ahead into the web development field, so you can do npm run watch, and this gonna do the job. So it's gonna run and watch. So every single time you edit your main style file or any file has been included into the import, like it has been included actually to the app.scss, the main app. So it's being like imported, and your file then every single time you edit it and click Control Save, it's gonna run the dev automatically for you. Just compile everything, and it's gonna do that very fast way, faster than using npm run dev. So now the watch is being started. Let's say I wanna edit like this. Control Save or Control S to save this, or you can go here and save, and it's being compiled. It's very fast thing. So this is how things gonna be working. Now after or initializing the watch, you don't really want it to Control C or something. You can't use this terminal anymore, so you can create a new terminal from here. And this is what I really like about Visual Studio Code integrated terminal. Now make sure you are in the main directory of our projects. We don't really need this anymore. Now let's talk about a bit about layout. So layouts is kind of a file that's gonna be included on another file. It's very simple as this. So for layouts, we're gonna go to the views, and of course it's an HTML file. Go ahead and create a new folder, and let me name this layouts, because you're gonna have like a multiple layouts also for email, for the whatever. So we can use, and I'm going to name it layouts or app.blade.php. Let's create the app. So app.blade.php, as simple as this, and this is gonna be our layout thing. And layout is pretty much like an ordinary HTML PHP file. So we're gonna put our header in there, as well as our body, everything in there, or the whole HTML structure. So we're gonna use the HTML. As you can see here, I've used some kind of an HTML extension called HTML Border Palette. Make sure you check it out from Google. It's gonna be downloaded. It's very simple and it's very useful as well. So I'm gonna remove the head, and those are our CSS files. So I'm gonna put them in there. Let me comment this. I'm gonna put it Laravel assets. Symbols this for commentary. So this is Laravel assets. We're gonna put it in here. We have the header indentation, where we just gonna don't need two of them. So we are going to do this in pretty much, and this is the body. So the body gonna hold up the container and the row. So we're gonna take both of these, goes back in there with them, and close the divs. This is the first div, and this is pretty much the second one. So close them. Make sure your code is indented. Yeah, this is pretty much it. So let me get rid of this, because we have done this, the body as well, the head, or the whole head, the whole HTML, and this div is belonging into here, the other one as well, and those one we have deleted. So all of the HTML and the body. Now we don't need those. Let me just indent this back. Sorry. So now we have added into these like the div classes, like we have done the structure. So every single HTML page we're gonna do on this website, you're gonna have the same structure as well as this, because Bootstrap, this is how it works. So it's gonna have a container Floyd as well as a row. We're gonna just put all our elements into there. So this is gonna be the structure. It's very basic. You can add it however you really want to in there. The assigned area, if you want to include it from a separate file, which we're going to definitely do this because it's very useful for us. So to do that, what we're going to do is we need to define a section, a Laravel section, or Blade templating engine section. So you need to use add symbol and put section, and you name your section. I'm gonna name it main row, because we're gonna have like a couple of rows in here. Let's say this is the first row. I'm gonna have another row underneath it. So we're gonna name it like the main row for the time being, or for the moment. And we're gonna just end this by typing end section. As simple as this. This is how blade templating engine works. Very simple. So you're telling it that this is a section you should consider on working on. Now, so this main row, we're gonna take it, must be the same name, and we're gonna yield it in under here, or like here under the container of the class row. So we're gonna type %, and yield, and what we need to yield is main dash row. So it's gonna get the section and just yield it or include everything in here, copy it, then paste it here. So this is what the layout is for. Actually, as I've said, it's very helpful for us, so that's why we're gonna need to use it much frequently. And one thing we need to do is we'd say like we need to extend, or we need to inherit from this layout, so we need to use like include everything in this layout. So to do that, we need to say extends, and which file we want to extend from. So we're gonna go to layout dot up, and as I've said, like the / is being replaced by Laravel by the dot notation. So layout dot up is gonna extend from there and gonna look for the section main row and yield all the content under there. Now everything should be working fine. We have main row the same. Now let's try this and make sure you use the end section in there, so for it to work perfectly. Now let's just use Laravel.cms.dev and see if there will be any changes, because we have changed this. So yeah, nothing is being converted. Only the CSS thing is not taking effect. I don't know guys, but that should be some kind of problem of like CSS file including or something, because this is not a big deal. Anyway, we're gonna fix this later on. You can fix yours however you want, and as I've said, you need to use the end section and the section keywords. So this is actually the layout you can use, but you can do whatever section, how many sections you want. You can put another section in here and call it my section, and make sure you end the section and section like this. Very simple, and put whatever you want and yield the content in the main app.php. It's very simple as this. You can do it however you want, and see how this is very powerful. Now what I really want, since this is a site area, I want to move it into like a separate file, because this site area is going to be included in every single file we're gonna use, and make it a separate file. It's gonna be very easy for us to like configure it and to do a lot of stuff with it, rather than just staying in the file itself. So for that, I'm just gonna create another folder for separating stuff from like the main things. So we're gonna call it inc. It's a shortcut for an include, and I'm gonna put a new file in there. Gonna be called side area.blade.php. Symbols this. I'm just gonna go to the dashboard, copy all of those, or cut all of those, and go to the site area, put them there, and make sure here don't use any extends or something, because this is not a real page. This is gonna be included into another one. So for that, we're gonna just go ahead and put enter the section main, and we're gonna call it @include, and what we need to include is under the include.side area, and like this for Laravel it has now like a point or like a virgule point thing. So this should be working fine, or should work fine actually. So let's see what is going to be in here. In the documents, cms.dev, yeah, it works just fine. Now it's including it. When we remove this, this is gonna be going, and now we have it in a separate file. You can edit however you want on this file, like without worries of editing the actual file or something. And this is really nice to use your files. Make sure when you have a separate area to include it, or to put it actually into a separate file. This makes it a really nice thing. Now everything has been done. How I have to explain the sections, the layouts, the compiling. Now everything like the CSS thing, or the CSS style and the styling side should be now good to go, as well as the blade templating engine. Now in the next tutorial we're going to talk about the model and the migrations and how useful of them, and we're going to start the first thing, which is the category thing, the category page actually, and we're going to implement our first category, our database connection, and we'll talk about the environment file that we're going to set up and on how all of this Laravel system works. It's going to be very nice episode. The next one is going to be very important for you to install Laravel, so stay tuned for this. Hopefully this is like helped you a lot. You can skip this, you can edit your page however you want. Please make sure that this code is going to be available on GitHub, so make sure you get it from there, or just at least see our GitHub page as well as seeing the ipnews.com. We're going to release every single tutorial released on the YouTube channel on this website, of course. It's the official website. Make sure to support us, become a Patreon. Feel free to become a Patreon. I'm gonna be very happy. And I guess this is it, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope you really enjoy. If you have any problems, put them in the comments below. I'll be very happy to reply for you guys. And see you in the next episode. Goodbye.